technical difficulties, apparently.
Okay, this is Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You, episode number 10. And I have...
You're not going to introduce me?
my cousin. And if anybody ever looked at my page, this is the Moo Moo Girl.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously?
They need to know.
Who's they?
Because you weren't on that, your face wasn't there.
For a reason.
Why?
Why are you calling me the Moo Moo Girl?
Because you explained what a moo moo was.
How could you not know what a moo moo was? In any case,
oh, and you know what? I figured out what the name was. It's a caftan. Remember I said there's another name for it? It's caftan.
She didn't know what a moo moo was, but she knew what a caftan was. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, let's not get lost here.
All right. So this is my cousin.
Hi. Happy New Year, everybody, all the viewers. Maybe we should wait a little bit for some more people to watch.
Okay.
Or
like
tune
how
in.
How many?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm new to this. You invited me on, so I'm just kind of,
I invited my cousin on for a reason, because obviously she knows my mom, and she has a different perspective of how that relationship is and how the whole disease has affected my mom.
Yeah. And I agreed to do this. And again, I'm not sure, if you're going to be responding to people as they're...
Hi, Bill.
as they're tuning in. But in any case, so I came over today. Let me give you a little bit of a backstory. My mom and her mom are sisters, and very close. So we grew up together.
And I changed her diapers.
Right. So, God, you're so distracting. In any case, yeah. So she, in essence, was like my second mom, and I have very fond memories of my Auntie Marlene. Very, very close relationship growing up. They lived about 5 minutes away from the house. We lived about 5 minutes away.
Yes.
So we spent pretty much every holiday together. We were over at each other's houses very frequently. It was just, it was a close family. This is another reason why I agreed to do this podcast, because coming in today and going downstairs, my aunt is in her later stages of Alzheimer's, in palliative care. And
tell people what palliative care is.
So palliative care is end of life care, so close to death. And I apologize in advance if I get emotional, but it's hard to see and it's hard to experience, especially after losing my own father 2 years ago, and that's still pretty raw for me. So this whole topic it can get heavy, deep, and emotional. But in any case, I agreed to do this because I feel like there's so many people out there that are faced with this horrible disease, and whether it's the beginning, middle, or end stages, there's so many questions and so many families that are affected by this that I feel like these podcasts that Karen does are super effective and resourceful. And it's a really great way to let people out there know that they're not alone and that other people share similar experiences and can kind of go back and forth with ideas and research and information and whatever it is that, people can help in terms of lending a helping hand along the way, because it's tough. This is a tough disease to be facing. I went downstairs today to say hello to my aunt, and it's tough, man. My brain, I was explaining this to Karen when I came back upstairs. It's like she's in her 17th year of Alzheimer's, and
18th, right? Because we just hit a new year.
Yes. So we're in our 18th year of Alzheimer's, and my brain still does not compute that this is the same woman I grew up with. So I know that that's her. Like, I have to tell myself that's Auntie Marlene, but it's still so shocking to me seeing her in this state, because she looks completely different. I would never recognize her as being the person that I grew up with. her face has changed, her body has changed. Obviously, she doesn't speak anymore. Her memory's gone. She doesn't recognize me. She doesn't recognize her own children. It's horrific on every level. And I was saying to Karen, with my own experience with my dad. My dad didn't have Alzheimer's. He passed away 2 years ago, and he was very sick in his last year of life. But there was still closure for me. Seeing him full circle do the things that he set out to do. He was still in his right mind. He was still able to express himself. He was still able to talk to us about his wants and his desires in terms of when he does transition or when he transitioned. We were able to leave nothing unsaid. There was still closure. And going through this type of experience, I find, is gut-wrenching because she's literally a shell of the human that she was, that everybody remembers or that I remember. We were discussing too earlier that you don't remember much before she got sick because you're so involved every day. This is your life. So there's times where, I'll bring up certain memories, or we'll talk about things that happened when we were growing up at, Christmases or Easters or dinners that we were at each other's house, just to kind of keep those memories alive and free, because you get so consumed in the day-to-day that you forget things. And I just feel like it's so important to keep her memory alive, those experiences alive, because she was so vibrant. Like, I'm talking, she was life. Like, she was, you walk into a room and she's the life of the room. And that's how I remember her beauty, her expressions, her giggle, her laugh was infectious. And just down to her generosity and her love. Like, I was her youngest niece, and she treated me no different than her own child. So, she really loved us. And what's special about those type of memories is that I'm going to cry. Okay, you take this.
You can't
no,
cry.
I'm going to cry.
There's no crying.
I'm going to cry.
Nope, you can't.
I'm going to cry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, it's good to get it out. Get it out. Get it out.
Okay. So, what's special about this is that now, full circle, she does the same thing with my children. So, we'll look at pictures from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and I can almost relive them through the relationship she has with my kids. And it's special. It's special to see, but it's also gut-wrenching and sad, because my aunt would have lived for these moments, to meet my children, to have grown with her grandchildren, to experience life, and seeing us all get older and go through things. It's humbling. It reminds me every day never to take 1 second for granted. It reminds me every day how blessed we all are to have the things we take for granted, our memories, the gift of seeing, speaking, tasting, loving, being around family, being around people that we love. There are real people going through these type of situations, and on top of that, the people that don't get talked about, which is the caregivers, right? Which is who you are, in essence, to your mom. I don't know a lot of people that would be able to handle a situation like this with as much grace.
Thank you.
No, I say that because, and genuinely from my heart, I mean, watching my dad, go through his last year of life before he passed, that was tough to watch. And that was 1 year. I can't imagine watching him go through a process like this for 18 years. That to me is like, I can't even process that. So, again, these things are very important that you're doing for the community and for other families that are going through beginning stages, middle, and whatever it is. you know, your work is very, very important, and I'm super proud of what you're doing because I know she appreciates it. Like, and again, I'm gonna
Okay,
cry.
you're not gonna make me cry.
So you take the mic
I
because
have 10 years over you. What?
Well, it's just it's sad, and at the same time, it's life, and it's family, and it's experience, and it's everything.
Yeah, I think like when you were talking about Lele and Kai, I think about Jalen a lot. That he
Didn't get to know her
at all. Yeah, that makes me very sad. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I know your mom the way that I did, the way that she loved us fiercely, I can't even imagine her grandbabies. Like, it would have been over. Like, done. That's a wrap. So, yeah, that is very sad. It's very sad that she got robbed so many precious years. I would have never thought in a million years that this would have affected her. Of all people, like...
I don't think people understand. Maybe that's why. That's why it's good that you're here, because my role has changed. I spoke about that earlier on a different podcast, that I don't feel like I'm a daughter anymore. I feel more like a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a different role. You know, very stoic when it comes to her care, which is unfortunate because I do think I need to be emotional, but I'm not. So I know, I'm just very, factual about her care. And I think maybe she needs that now. I don't know.
It's hard to say, especially when you're speaking about somebody who's not able to express themselves or talk about what they need, want, anything. It's tough, but you know, again, I can't imagine having to see a parent or a loved one deteriorate the way that she has, and what that does to you and your psyche. And as much as you might think that you're so stoic, I see something different. I see, you know, it's out of obligation. I think there's that saying that says, nobody knows how strong you can actually be until you have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's number one in your case. You didn't have a choice.
No.
This was not something you chose. This was something that was chosen for you.
That's
and
right.
For her. And that is another thing that I can't wrap my head around, because of all people, you know, it's like her vibrancy and her intelligence and her tenacity and her hunger and her bigger than life personality. And I mean, I just I could have never predicted this for her, you know. That's one of the hardest pills to swallow, I find. Going down there and seeing her, and she doesn't, there's nothing in her eyes, you know.
It's a vacant look.
And coming from the woman that I remember her being, that is what I think is the hardest transition for me to overstand. I tell my brain, this is her, but it doesn't feel like it connects. You know, it still doesn't feel real. So,
yeah.
I hope that gives you...
It's a long goodbye.
Yeah. And it's painful because she's robbed of so much, you know? She's robbed of so much.
No words of wisdom, except for the ones that she gave me when she was well.
And she did a great job.
Yeah,
I mean,
she gave me a lot.
She really did. I mean, she did not leave anything. You know, she raised two really wonderful kids, and I'm, you know.
Thank you.
Let's not get it crazy.
Thank you.
Okay, let's not get crazy.
Thank you very much.
But you know, even everybody that she touched, and everybody that, you know, she had a big role in their lives. I mean, I don't know anybody that has anything malice or bad to say about her, and she really did leave a lasting impression on everybody that she touched. And that really is what life is about. It's, you know, I think about ever since my dad passing, when it's my time to go, how are people going to remember me? And sometimes, you do these little things here and there, but it's really what you leave people with. And, that's the lasting thing. That's the legacy that we want our children to remember. And, we want them to grow up and be great humans. And I think that if we can achieve that, we kind of set out to do what we were supposed to do, right?
Yeah, so she did live a good life.
She lived a wonderful life. I mean, ups and downs, ins and outs, we all go through it, but she really, she came from hard times, and she met your dad and created this incredible life for your family. And I mean, not a lot of people can say that. And again, this is another reason why it's so gut-wrenching, because I could have never expected this happening to her,
Which, it's like you said earlier, you aren't promised, so you should probably make the best of every moment. I'm glad that I did. I never really, of course, mother-daughter things that I've never, fortunately never stopped talking to my mom or had any issues with my mom, so at least I had that very consistent, loving relationship.
So if there's anything that you would have changed, like in terms of the journey thus far, explain to me in the beginning, because I remember, you and I having these conversations about people who are just getting the diagnosis that their loved one, their parent, their significant other is in early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's. And I remember you and I having these conversations about how tough it was for you in the beginning, because she was so combative and she was so confused and so scared, and you were trying to make sense of everything, and it was almost like having this grown-up adult who was a baby or who was a child almost, right?
Well, at the beginning I would say she was probably like a defiant teenager. And the hard part was when she was diagnosed. My dad was still alive, but in Trinidad, and he was in denial too. So like everybody's in denial except me, and trying to figure out this disease on my own, because I didn't know anything about it. There wasn't a lot of information, and just dealing with her behavior. So that's, I guess, what I know now, I wouldn't really deal with the behavior. I would just sort of kind of be more empathetic to my mom, what she was going through. But it's so hard to separate yourself from it, especially I had a newborn, so it was
a lot.
It was a lot on my plate at that time. But if I had to give advice, it is challenging. Don't try to get caught up in the disease itself. They're not doing it on purpose, for sure, as much as you might think they are. They're not. And you just have to be compassionate and kind of laugh, not at them, but, try to make it
as light as possible.
And not, I know I was guilty of that, of, trying to jog their memory, but that's very frustrating. So I wouldn't do that.
I can't even imagine how scared she must have been.
I just remember when she couldn't, I went to work and I said, okay, Mom, just write down our birth dates. And then when I came home from work, she was like, I just can't remember. And then
you knew.
That's when I knew. I was like, you know what? Who cares? We know what our birthdays are. You gave birth to us.
Yeah.
You did your job. But that's when I started. When she started accepting that she couldn't remember, that was hard.
That's when it became really real.
That was really
You have some people responding here.
Lori said, care for the
caregiver. That's everything, because I think a lot of people forget that the caregivers get forgotten about, and that's from what I see her having to do on a daily basis. And again, I mean, it's people cannot begin to imagine what this type of life is until you live something similar. It's really hard, and it's taxing, it's exhausting. Share a little bit with that.
I'm gonna just give you go ahead, tell them, because I'm gonna just
sure. Well, okay.
Just tell them to.
Guys, there's so many people that go through depression. There's so many people that, go through such different experiences when taking care of somebody that is going through this, especially a parent. I can't imagine watching my parents go through this. It would be horrific on every level, and it is. So, you have to think about making sense of this disease. You have to think about now, taking care of your loved one, making sure that all their doctor's appointments are set and dealt with, all their medications, all of their reactions, all of I remember you telling me she would try to sneak out of the house and she would run away, and you're like,
when I was in the shower.
Yes, it's like you're dealing with a parent that you in your brain know from growing up with, but you still have to try and make logic decisions of, wow, this person is sick. You're still in denial about it, and in the same time you're still trying to cope and live day to day in these experiences.
And you're not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
You're not a doctor.
You're tired, you're exhausted, you're frustrated. There's just not enough. There's not enough, what's the word? There's not enough taking care of the caregiver. There's not enough gratitude. I don't know if gratitude is the right word. It's not gratitude. There's not enough, I can't think of the word, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting
yeah, I'm
what
not.
Is the word?
Or a nurse. Yeah, you're right, Lori. I'm not a nurse either.
Recognition? Is it recognition?
Probably.
Acknowledgement?
It's an unpaid
duty.
job.
And it's a duty, because again, there's some people that go through this and they make the decision to put their loved one in a nursing home, or different, what are the other options you can have?
Well, right now, the reality is, and if you wanted to put your parent in a nursing home, there's a 12-month waiting list. So, yeah.
So what are you supposed to do in the 12 months?
Right. That's right.
Okay, so there you go.
There's a 12-month waiting list to get into a nursing home right now in Ontario. I can't remember. I think there's over 30,000 people waiting to get into a nursing home in Ontario. Yeah.
And then once you get into the nursing home, you still have to make sure that you have enough income to cover the expense of your loved one being in the nursing home, correct?
Well, it depends on the nursing home, but yeah. It's covered by your pension. Your pension just goes directly.
And what happens if people don't have a pension?
Well, then I think it's covered. Well, and then you would have a pension for sure, like
Okay.
CPP or OAS. But the issue is, that's a good topic, because my mom had it at 57, so she's not, right?
Old.
Right.
This is not an old person
It's not
disease.
old timers. Because a lot of
Yes.
people think this is called old timers. It's Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
So no, you don't just get it when you're old.
And there's no cure. So again, it's like you get so many people, and I'm not taking away from anybody going through a different disease or struggle, anything like that, but I'll use the example of cancer. We're all pretty much affected by cancer in some sort of direct way or indirect way, whether it's somebody that we know firsthand, or we know somebody about that knows somebody else that knows somebody else. In any case, there's funding, and there's treatments, and there's so much research and education that is going into that type of disease, that when you get a diagnosis like that, it's not, it's terrifying and it's scary, but it's not that's it, there's no hope. There are cures, and there are ways that people can get better, and there are things that people can do to prolong their life. This type of disease is horrific because there's no cure. There's nothing that the family member or the loved one can do. You just have to sit back and literally wait and watch the person that you love deteriorate and kind of go backwards in life, where they turn back into a baby or a veg state.
Well, I call it reverse aging. That's what it is. Because her body technically is going into the fetal position.
It's just horrific and gut-wrenching. I keep saying it because that's really the only description I have for it. It's debilitating. It's hard. And you know, these are the type of podcasts that I feel are effective for people out there that are feeling desperate or in despair or feeling like, you know, they're at their end or suicidal maybe, or, you know, they don't know where to turn, they don't know what to do. I read her book. This is her mom, this is my aunt. People can pick up their own copy. It's, where can you find it? On Amazon?
Yeah, in chapters.
In chapters. And, you know, you can pick up your own. And there's a lot of research, a lot of valuable information. If this is something that you're going through or somebody that you know, it can be a benefit to that person. You guys, I don't know. There's no words. I thought about maybe even suggesting showing my aunt on camera, but it's...
I wouldn't do that to her.
No, and it's not, it's just not... It's not something I think that anybody would be okay to see. It's... Yeah. It's emotional. It's emotionally draining. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. I'd like to be, you know, I try to be as upbeat as possible because that's what gets me through the day.
And kudos to you, because I don't know how you do it. I mean, again, you do it because you're forced to do it, and this is your life, and this is all you know. But for somebody on the outside looking in, it's not easy, man. This is not something that I think anyone would just be able to pick up and just do and accept and, you know.
Well, you kind of explained why I would do it. You knew Mom, how she was.
Mm-hmm.
Who wouldn't do it?
You'd be surprised. Not everybody has huge hearts, right? Your mom had a huge one. She loved us.
Right.
Yes.
So
I get it, but even still, not everybody has that capacity to be able to take something like this on, and especially for this long.
Well, I don't think when you're signing up for it, you realize how long it is. When even at the beginning, when we first found out that she had it, the lifespan was 10 years. That's kind of the average. Even when I tell doctors now, they're like 17, 18.
Mm-hmm. What does this say here? Reverse aging seems a very apt term.
Because I said it's like reverse aging.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like another anomaly.
I was shocked too. You know, when I was going through massage therapy school, I remember doing a paper on Alzheimer's, and I was shocked, you know, that she's lasted this long. I always thought it was a disease that was like 5 to 10 years max.
But a lot of people, it's like that. It's very quick, especially from diagnosis, or like it's, you know, very progressive. Hers seems to plateau. Like, so she'll go through a stage and then it plateaus, and then she goes through another stage and then it plateaus. So this end stage now, like over 2 years, right? Like
yeah.
That's another anomaly. You're not really in palliative care for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like end of life for 2 years.
You know, and most people, again, when you don't know what that means always being on edge. That means the phone rings and you're waiting. That means it can be any second of any time of any day of anything, and this is her life. And, you know, whether it's being called downstairs because she's having a seizure, whether it's, good God, it's not for the weak of heart. And again, I know that if the situation was reversed, there's no doubt about it. She would do it. You know, she would do it. And perhaps this is why it is unfolded this way, and she has been taken care of with top of the line care, and she's still hanging on. Who knows, you know? But it's tough, and it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be respected. It needs to be out there the same way cancer research is, the same way ASL research is, the same way or sort of the ALS research. It's, what is it? You do it because you two are connected, and it would be like ignoring a personal ailment, injury, or need if you didn't. She's your mom. She's part of you. You care for her because simply, what else can you do? I can't see the more. Oh, what else can you do?
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to leave that there because not everybody would share that same sentiment.
Why would you say that?
Well, not everybody grows up with a loving, caring mother. Everyone has different situations. Everybody has different experiences. Think about people who have terrible things to say about their moms. Think about people who, you know, have older parents that just ship them away to a nursing home because they couldn't be bothered with their parent. Not everybody has the same heart.
I know, but then I don't want to diminish people who can't take care of their parent at home too, because like that's
no, and I don't mean that. I mean in terms of the relationship of having a great mother who, you know, if it was reversed, she would be there for you. Right. Not everybody had that mother. Okay. Right? Like we know that we come from a family lineage where there's been certain relationships in our family where, you know, the relationship between mother and daughter hasn't been always so united and strong. So that being said, there's a lot of people out there that have resentment towards their moms, whether, you know, they were abandoned or orphaned, or you just, people come through different situations in life. They don't always have the same type of upbringing where we had warm mothers that loved us and nurtured us and, you know, took care of us. Not everybody has that experience, right? Right. That's all I'm saying.
I guess it's just probably a lot to do with, and Brianna said it too, but it's probably a lot to do with the Catholic upbringing. Yes. And I went to...
Does it say some people don't honor
I just read that.
Like you?
Do you need glasses?
I do. Wow. Well, and this thing is so small. Like, I don't know how you can see it from there.
Well, because you're supposed to be younger than me.
Supposed to be, I am.
I have 20/20 vision.
Don't get feisty. She's getting feisty.
She can't read that.
So what? Give me your glasses.
I don't wear glasses. It's the Catholic upbringing, and I think, you know, that was drilled. Honor your mother and your father. That's
no matter what.
A commandment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Brianna's laughing, but it's true. And you do need glasses. Brianna, do you know an optometrist?
I need a lot of things. Yeah. Well, you know, listen. That's kind of why I wanted to come on and just say hello to everybody that, you know, supports you in this journey of yours.
What do people want to know? Like, I don't know. What questions do people have?
Yeah. And if you have questions, inbox her. Like, these are the...
Or you can ask right now.
I'm not sure. Do you have an idea of who's watching? Like, does it show you, or is there a way you can...
Aren't you looking at the same thing?
This is my first... She's so feisty.
Aren't you looking... Do I have a different screen? You're like one of those people in a movie. Oh, what's going to happen? I'm watching the same movie at the same time. Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Okay, what?
Nothing.
Ew.
I have to be nice to my...
No, don't touch me.
Diaper changer.
Ew.
My future
no,
diaper
that's all
changer.
done. No, we're done. We're done now. We're done. No diaper, nothing. That's all, deals are off.
Whatever. Payback.
Any case, yeah. Guys, if you guys have any questions, inquiries, concerns, whatever, about Alzheimer's or what this disease is about, or, you know, if there's anything related to.
I don't know if Bill's still watching, but Bill had concerns because he had said that he feels like he's not doing enough, and I wanted to address that. You are doing everything that you can do. I'm pretty sure.
Is Bill going through?
Yes,
okay.
His mom has
his mom.
And that's how you feel. You feel guilty. There's like a plethora of emotions you feel on it, like a daily basis, and a lot of it is guilt. But you are doing probably all that you can do. This is a very challenging disease, and when you do sign up for it, I don't know. I signed up for it.
You didn't have much of a choice.
And I'm 18 years in. I wonder if you get a. Can I call Guinness? Well, you just said that we should get recognized. Now you're like giving me that face. And I wish employers would recognize caregiver. I really do. That would be very good if they did, because there's not enough things in place for caregivers. I'm not on any assistance or subsidy for caregiving. So yeah, it's out of pocket expense. Pretty much.
So is there anything else you want to wrap it up? It's getting a little bit long. I know that in this day and age, people want the meat and potatoes real quick.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. No, really. Thank you for kind of like showing people who Mom was, because nobody really would know unless they knew her. And one thing. Yay, Bree. Okay, what, Bree? Just wait.
That was my Auntie Marlene. That's how I remember her.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Those suffering with early onset depression.
Yeah. My mom started with depression. Yeah.
So what are the
that
signs?
Was probably I don't really know what the signs are, but because we spoke about that before. If you have Alzheimer's, if you're diagnosed, typically you've probably had it 10 years previous to your diagnosis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it starts with depression. That's a precursor. Yeah. And a lot of her withdrawing, if she's withdrawing from her family, it's because she doesn't want people to know. So she's trying to hide, because that's what my mom used to do too. Like, she would talk less because she doesn't know how it's going to come out. So she would just be very quiet and withdrawn as well. A lot, and she would cry a lot for no reason. We wouldn't know. So yeah, that's one of the signs. And I think she was on Ibixa when she first was diagnosed, which is an antidepressant. Ibixa? I think so. Yeah. Did say that. Okay, so if you have any questions, we could just email me. And
what's your email address?
KarenLead@KarenLead.org.
Okay, and I'll make sure that she puts that same email address in the comments so that you guys can get that afterwards in case you didn't get it just now.
Okay.
And as well where you guys can pick up
I'm going to
book.
probably put an order in, because like Bree wants some books too. So I'm going to probably put an order in.
Okay.
So that you can order directly from me, and then I can sign them.
For sure. Absolutely. And then let us know if this is an effective way for you guys to learn, or if you guys are getting anything out of these podcasts, because if you are, then, you know, obviously that helps us be able to make them better. the next time, right?
Yeah.
So we can get the questions that you need answered.
I'm just muddling my way through here. Oh. Yes, government should also be recognizing caregivers. Best friend has become her mother's caregiver, trying to do her very best. And certainly not much support available from the system. Much more needed. I agree. It's very unfortunate. And yes, there's very little government assistance with caregiving.
There's very little anything.
It's not recognized, and I don't think people understand because they're, like you had said from before, unless you're in it, you don't know.
You don't.
You have no idea.
Out of sight, out of mind. It's like anything else, you know, until you go through a death, you really can't comprehend what that might be like. And it's like this. It's until you go through somebody that you love and you're watching them go through these things, you have no comprehension of what this could be like. It's
like if we really didn't have the financial means, I wouldn't want to know how that would look like. Like if I really think about it, because at the beginning, remember my mom's was 57. She didn't have Trillium, like, which is the drug plan at 65, right? There's a when you turn 65, there's like a universal drug plan. If you don't have private insurance, and remember she's not working, so, and her drugs at the time were like $200, $300 a month.
Sure.
Then,
I mean, isn't it?
Then there's.
Sorry.
All right then.
And take 5.
And then there's like, she needs care.
Sorry.
Because I have to work. So that's out of pocket expense. So it is quite expensive. It's not covered by the government, which is ironic considering she has an illness that has no cure, which I can't wrap my head around.
Well, not to mention income tax time, how a bedridden,
oh yeah, they still want their tax.
Sick patient who is not doing anything but the same thing every day in her bed, sick.
She's still paying taxes.
And it's not even a little bit of taxes. It's thousands of dollars of taxes every year. Listen, if there's anybody out there that can make sense of this or that can aid in the how ludicrous this is and how this can be changed, or how we can make a difference in terms of getting this to be changed for future generations or for people that are going through this, please inbox her and let her know. Try and, go back and forth with ideas and things that can be done. Solutions. It's all about solutions, because I can't believe that there's really nothing put in place for people that are going through this horrific disease. It's mind blasting. That was a very Russell Peters type of moment.
Wow.
Mind blasting?
I don't know.
I said mind blasting.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm just going with it. Mind blasting.
We do have the gene.
I can't with you. Is there anything else you want to cover?
No.
We'll wrap it up.
Yes.
So thank you guys all for watching. I wish that it was a different topic that we were talking about, because this is not one that is dear to my heart, but it's very necessary to talk about.
Thanks, Bree. She said, well done. See? She said, well done, ladies. Oh, now.
Okay, let's wrap.
Okay.
I can see, Bree.
Yeah, she can't see.
Yes, I can.
You can't read. She knows. She's
I
on
see it. She can't see. See? I can see. I see you,
Whatever.
Bree.
You are squinting. It's pretty sad.
Okay, wrap it up.
Well, you have to, you didn't just say wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
No, you have to, be okay.
Okay, what do I have to be like? Okay. Tell me, what do I have to do? Coach me, coacher.
You said robot dancing.
Don't you hate her?
Jane.
I learned from the best. Have you guys ever ridden in a car with this girl? Okay, no,
this
we're getting
not-
yeah. Oh no,
this
sorry.
we're
We're getting
That's
off topic
not-
now.
yeah.
Okay, yes.
They don't need to know about my car rides, which are awesome, by the way.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Again, if there's anything that you guys can add to this community or this conversation, please feel free.
Do you think we should have her on all the time?
Don't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, just be honest. Like,
I'm fragile.
whatever. Anyways, I think she adds value because she can see, she's like from the outside looking in.
Kind of like a stalker.
Ray says yes. See, you have a fan.
Woohoo! Yay, Bree. Okay, you redeemed yourself. We're friends.
She's so crazy. She knows how to handle me.
Sure do.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a decade older than her. Well, James says yes too. You have 2 fans.
Woohoo! Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Just
All right, let's wrap it up.
begging. Okay. All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.